Tonight's Next Time Try This segment, I want to talk to you about the fork caps on your bike. On the left, we have a beautiful NOS cap. As you can see, it's in excellent condition. On the right, we've got a cap that's seen better days. Throughout time, with the wrong wrench, or maybe even an adjustable wrench, someone has really done some damage to this little fork cap. But if it's for a race bike, I want to show you a rather simple way that you can get it cleaned up and make it look a whole lot better. First thing we're going to do is take out that valve that someone has put in. So let's get a closer look at that, and then I'll move on and show you how to freshen up that cap. My vise happens to have a set of jaws on the bottom that are cut out on a little bit of an angle. It would be able to hold that fork cap on there a lot better than the regular jaws on the other end. I've also triple wrapped the threads on that fork cap with some duct tape just to give it some added protection. It's very, very important that when you're working on something like this, obviously you don't want to ruin the threads, but you need a good, secure way to hold the cap in some way so that you can actually file it, sand it, or do whatever you're going to have to do to make it look nice again. Now I've got 3 different files that I'll be using here. I don't know which one I'm going to be using first. Depends on how the aluminum reacts to the file that I'm going to be putting on it. This one happens to have a little bit of a large nick right here, so I think I am going to use the coarsest file, the bastard file, just to get that down a little bit. This cap is also, I guess you would call it convexed over the top. It is curved, so you do want to keep that in mind, that you don't want to make it flat. You want to try and keep the contour of it. And yes, I did take out that little Schrader valve that was on it originally. So let's take a couple of passes with this file and get this big gouge here down first and see how that goes. You want to take your time. You could always go back and take off a little more. You don't want to take off too much material at once. Okay, we've got that big one down, and this one over here, yeah, looks like it's sticking up pretty high too, so I'm going to continue on with the coarser file on this one. Now, I've got those 2 higher spots down. I'm going to go down to the next finest file, and I'm going to continue on around. It is curved over the top. It is convexed, so we're going to try and keep that shape as much as we can. I think we've got the top looking pretty good with just the files. I'm also going to be using some 220 grit and 320 grit sandpaper. We're going to start off with the 220. And the same way, when I sand gas tanks or anything else, I always try and keep the sandpaper in the palm of my hand. Or sometimes you need to use just your thumb, like in a situation like this. All right, we're looking pretty good with the top of that cap. Now, I'm going to change the angle of the camera, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the damage that's been done to the flat sides of the top of this cap, and I'll show you how to make those look a little bit better too. You're going to be careful when you file. You're only going to make it so nice. You don't want to take it down too far, just enough to kind of get it cleaned up. For this one, we're going to use our the fine file. So we're going to start by going across this flat section and try and stay away from the flange with this edge of the file. This edge of the file you don't want biting into that flange, otherwise you're going to cause more damage. So try and keep it away from there. Keep it flat as you can with the contour, with the edge of the nut. Go one way nice and easy with your file. And it's making it look a little bit more respectable now. We're going to flip that cap over in the vise in just a second, and we'll get it going this way too. Now, it may not be perfect when you're done, but it'll be better, it'll look better, and at least you'll have somewhat of a square edge on where your socket will still be able to grab that cap properly. It's looking a lot better. Yeah, you do have a couple little nicks in there. I'm going to work on that with some sandpaper, get that flange cleaned up, and then we're going to polish it up. Well, there you have it. After a little polishing, it looks pretty good. Of course, the filing, the sanding, all of it helped to get it to where it's a whole lot better than what it was. And just for a little comparison, this is the one from the other side. And it is a 22 millimeter cap. And if you use the right socket to put it back on, well, there isn't much play in there at all. And I think you'd be hitting on the majority of all those high points of the top of that fork cap. So next time, try that.